From Journey with VRD, you're listening to the Visions, Missions, and Manifestations podcast, the number one place for spirituality, healing, and transcendence. I'm your host, Vivian Dayan. Now let's get into it. Welcome, Alina, to the Visions, Missions, and Manifestations podcast. I'm so excited to have you here and talk about the spiritual work that you are doing. From experience, I can confidently say that you take clients on a journey to optimal health through quantum healing. For the listener who hasn't yet heard of this healing modality, how would you describe what quantum health is and the journey your clients go on when they're in session with you?
Oh wow, that's a good one. So quantum healing, it's very interesting that you ask this kind of like what it is and how it works. It's basically creating, right? We all have the capabilities to heal ourselves, like, right? Our body has that innate ability. We just kind of sort of forgot how it's done. And so what quantum healing provides is really create macro healing in micro timing, right? Because it's done energetically, so it's boom, right? If you're open, if you're ready, it happens instantly. And the journey itself is just, it's amazing, right? The journey that the client goes through from, because a lot of times we start off with, oh, well, this is what I want to achieve and this is how it looks. But once you go through the steps, you're like, oh, well, there's a deeper issue than that, or there's something else that's at play here, right? So it definitely is a journey on its own because of how it works and the method, right?
For sure. And I feel like the things that come up through the journey while in session with you are exactly the blocks or the things holding us back that need to surface into our conscious mind. And they're the blocks that are ready to be healed and removed and released. So it's really such a kismet and perfect session to do when you're feeling ultra blocked and your limiting beliefs just won't seem to release themselves from your conscious mind.
Yes, absolutely.
Another thing that you briefly mentioned that I want to highlight for the listener is time, right? You said we are doing macro healing and micro timing. And the thing is, when we work with the quantum realm, which is the realm of endless possibility, the realm of what ifs, the realm where potential is boundless, anything can happen. And time doesn't exist in the quantum realm, right? Quantum physics states that the past, the future, and the now are all connected.
And they're all happening simultaneously. There you go. I can at the same time. It is all happening at the same time.
All the time. And so, like you said, if you're willing, if you're ready, you can make that quantum jump and that healing in micro timing.
Yes, it's possible right now. It's done. There is a version of each of us that already exists, that is healed, that is the higher self, right? It already exists. You just need to connect to it.
What I love about the quantum field in general is how, because past, present, and now are all connected, at any moment you can connect with a version of yourself who has the things that the individual, the client, the human is now currently manifesting and desiring.
Absolutely.
So, who would you say is your ideal client? Who is the person that comes for a quantum healing session?
Women who are ready to transform themselves, who are ready for that next level, who want to make the change, right? I want the results. And that's ultimately who I want to work with and I work with. Yeah.
I see you as this vessel of healing. You are somebody that I would go to and I go to when there's a block that either I'm unconscious of the root, so I don't know why it's there and it doesn't seem to be going away, or I do know the block, I do know the root, and I just need connection to the quantum field to be even stronger, more powerful, and vibrant so that I can receive the messages, downloads, and guidance that I need in order to move past the block.
Yes. Someone who's looking for that guidance, right? Like, yeah, like you mentioned, it is somebody who knows and is ready to make the transformation, but it's also someone who might not completely know the core issue, right? But there is something. So because the way it works is sometimes you think you know the core issue, and once we start talking, it's like, oh, okay, right? So that could happen. But
so what shifts in identity did you have to make in order to turn into this vessel of healing?
there has been so many shifts that I had to make, and a lot of it had to do with being tested over and over because how can I help people if I have not went through something similar and have embodied that? So many different shifts came about from really just honestly going through something. It's like initiation after initiation. I had to go through very recently with all of my childhood things that I have suppressed for many years. I had to go through health challenges in order to come out on the other side and show people that what your health is in your own hands, and here are the tools. I had to go through the childhood traumas and show you, look, we have childhood traumas that we can heal through. We don't have to stay the victim in all of these stories, right? I had to go through marriage situations, right? Learning how to be a better wife and seeing the difference that it makes with my husband, right? How he changes. I change my perspective and he changes right in front of my eyes. It's really all a reflection. With my kids, how their relationship, how I am, how it affects them. So basically, all of these areas are initiations for me to go through to like pretty much fall in the mud and just like completely be dragged through it. To then pick myself up and be like, okay, now I can tell people about it. Now I can walk you through it.
It's interesting you say that, because in the Journey to Ascension, which is the manifestation program, the manifestation belief sets that I teach, initiations usually come after endings, after you've hit a rock bottom and like you are in this place, this in between. An initiation will come to welcome you into a new level, a new layer of your life. And in order to consciously create the life, manifest the life that you want to live, that you dream about, that you can't stop dreaming about, you have to shift your identity. You have to alter your belief system, which is directly linked to your identity, in order to be the person, in order to manifest the things that you are calling into your life. Your outside world is a direct mirror, direct reflection of what's going on inside. And so if you don't like what's going on the outside, it's time to shift who you are on the inside. And your identity is directly linked to your beliefs, and your beliefs radiate out of you and radiate your outer world. So it's really all connected. And these initiations, these new beginnings, are brought to you as an opportunity when it's time for you to leave one reality behind, one level, one layer behind, and step into a whole new world.
Yes, absolutely. It happens instantly. Have you noticed that? How these reflections, they happen instantly. Once you shift that little mindset thing, and you're like, oh, this just happened, and it's all different.
100%. I would even take it further than a mindset. It's not just your mindset, it's your actual beliefs that you begin to embody and become. Therefore, you're not just shifting a mindset, like shifting your identity. And to shift your identity, you're choosing new beliefs to program into the mind while being conscious of the 20 or so beliefs that have expired within you and you're ready to let go of. Energy can't be created or destroyed, but it can be transformed. So as we let go of of beliefs that are holding us back, we actually transform them with beliefs that we now want to identify with and that we now consciously choose to identify with. And this is a process of consciously creating and manifesting the reality in which you want to live in by tapping into the quantum field that you explained earlier. Okay, I want to become X, Y, and Z. Okay, what do I need to be that? What do I need to believe in order to believe that, to be that, to manifest that and attract that? Okay, I'm going to reprogram my mind just like a computer. I'm going to install these new templates, these new ideas into my mind. I'm going to begin embodying them, become them. And then bam, like you said, that radiates outward and you see the shift in your reality.
Yes, and it needs to be done through, like you said, these beliefs and all of this, it needs to be done through every single layer, every single body, right? We don't have just the physical and like energetic, etheric, right? We have mental body, emotional body, energetic body, right? We need to reprogram all of that on every single layer of the being. And when we're embodying it, it's done very physically, right? I mean, not everybody connects. For me, I feel that a little more because I am really connected. I feel to the body and feeling it through the body, but the body needs to feel safe. The body needs to feel safe with these new beliefs, right? You can, like, again, if it is just mindset work, if you're telling yourself, oh, this belief, this is what I believe, but the body's like, oh, no, your nervous system is like, I can't believe this. I've seen only trauma and this repeated pattern and this behavior for 5, 10, 15 years. You need to work with the nervous system. You need to work with the physical body, emotional body, right? Energetic body. It is all so connected. That's one of the biggest things for me when I started to talk. It's all connected. We don't realize how much it's connected.
Hey there, it's Vivian, and I'm briefly interrupting this podcast episode because I am so excited to share with you some of the new ways that we can work together. I've included new services to my say. And one of the cool ways to work with me now is in real life, in person. Hey, come into my energy. Let's manifest it in person. So that's really cool. That's a VIP day. That's where I curate the most perfect manifestation day for you. But that's not all. I also now offering a group manifestation immersion starting April 1st. It's going to be a 4-week manifestation immersion. It's called Hot Girl Spring because we're springing into summer, already manifesting the thing we would have wanted to have for summer. So like if you're wanting to book that Europe trip this summer with the girls, like let's manifest that raise now. Like let's do it. If you're wanting to manifest a boyfriend to bring to all the weddings, barbecues this summer, like let's do that too. That's going to be so much fun. Let's hop into summer with the things that we want, but like let's manifest it in spring together. And it's going to be full of party, happy, fun vibes as we celebrate each other's successes week after week. So if that sounds like something you want to do, head over to the website or DM me, like slide into my DMs, Journey with VRD, and let's see if this is a hell yes for you. Because it's really important for me that you feel like this is a no-brainer. Anyway, I love you guys. Let's get back to the episode because this is a juicy one. And you really touched on something that's so important too. There's fear around growth because growth and evolving and transformation all mean that we are going to leave behind what has been familiar for some of us for decades, right? For years on end. And we're going to step into this new reality that's unfamiliar because it's new. And the things that we don't have that we're manifesting, they're new. If we already had them, we wouldn't be manifesting them. And so our growth, the journey to manifesting, there is a level of or a layer of fear involved because we're moving into a place that we've never been. And so getting the nervous system prepared for that journey. And one way that I encourage my clients to do this is by imagining, showing the brain what's going to happen after you make these choices to your evolution, to your growth, and to your success. Because when your mind sees it, when it comes to actually making those choices, the fear is subsided. It's not as strong as it would have been if you're like, I'm going to jump off this cliff and just go after my ascension. Because if you do that, you're going to feel the imposter syndrome because you're going to be like, wait a second, whose life did I just step into? And the manifestation won't hold. So
Yeah.
showing your mind what happens when you go after your ascension, your growth, and your manifestations actually allows the little voice in your head telling you that this isn't possible for you to not say those things, because it's like, no, wait, we saw it. What's cool about manifesting is that it's been backed by neuroscience time and time again. And so when we think of mirror neurons, right? Our mirror neurons mirror what we see, what we show our minds. So if we show our minds our success, what we want to happen, our brain will become accustomed to that. It'll mirror that. And our
Yeah.
belief in ourself and in our manifestations will get stronger. Our brain also doesn't know the difference between what we watch on TV, like fiction, and reality. So if we're watching over and over in our mind the outcome, the manifestations, the life, the ascension, the evolution, and the growth that we want for ourselves, that we're desiring, our brain is going to, on some level, start believing that that already happened. And the more you do this, the more you begin to merge with the version of you who's already manifested it.
Yes, that is exactly how it happens. Or why manifestation works the way it works is because your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and what's real.
Mm-hmm.
So again, think of the people who are constantly in the negative. That if they negative self-talk, if they do, that's what's gonna show up in their reality. The brain doesn't know that, right? So some people can like traumatize and re-traumatize themselves over and over. And then on the flip side of that, if you continue on that visualizing your dream reality, if you continue to do it and you take the aligned action to it, because there is, a moment that comes, you have to take action. You can't just visualize it. You have to take the action, get the physical body on board. I'm big on that. I don't know. I'm very big on regulating your nervous system, somatic work, feeling it through, letting it go out of the body, because the body remembers everything.
Mm-hmm.
From honestly, even before you were born, sometimes from your past lives.
For sure. I'm a big believer in that.
Sometimes there are cases when people come in and working with a certain belief, with a trauma, wounding pattern, right? Whatever you want to call it. And it's nowhere to be found in this lifetime. It comes from a past lifetime. It happens.
And that makes complete sense. I was actually thinking about it the other day, how some of the things that we're so good at that come natural to us are actually things that we practice and learned and built the skill in our past lives. And just like we could bring forth all these gifts and skills and things that we've quote unquote mastered, so too we're probably bringing the trauma and the scars from past lives.
Could be. If it has not finished, right, in the last lifetime, right, you bring it forth. That's where astrology comes in, and it's so helpful. I love that part.
I need to learn more about that, but what I definitely do love about quantum healing and working with you is how you are able to take these limiting beliefs, these scars, these traumas, and the things that are just ultimately blocking us and holding us back, and find out, okay, is it lifetime? Is it from a past lifetime? And regardless where it's from, which reality and dimension and lifetime, we can still heal it in the present moment, in the conscious now.
Yes, because of the quantum field and the no time, no space. And I love it. Honestly, I was thinking about this whole concept that Jesus Christ, right? Well, I don't like to, I'm not very religious, but there is, like Christ consciousness we talk about, or other ways we call Jesus Christ is Yeshua. Not everybody calls him Jesus. And how it's described in all the scriptures about him, how he was able to heal people. I'm like, he was a quantum healer. Like he healed people instantly, right? I'm like, yeah, it's amazing, amazing stuff. I love it.
Yeah, he was definitely connected to the quantum field for sure, the realm of endless possibility, because what ends up happening when you do self-discovery work, when you unlayer the webs and the layers that have been holding you back and stopping and blocking you, is that you do become really connected with your gifts and your guides. And your gifts are these energetic, spiritual gifts that show themselves to you in the right timing to help you along, to guide you on your journey, on your human journey in this lifetime.
Yes.
Which brings me to a question that I really wanted to ask you.
Hmm.
What is your superpower? What is your strongest sixth sense?
Clairsentience. And I say they're kind of on the same, but more clairsentience and claircognizance. Those are definitely, but I do feel that we all have all of these, right? Some we're definitely more tapped into. And for me, I'm definitely more tapped into my clairsentience. I physically feel everything. Even as, like I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before, but when I was younger or even a few years ago, I always thought it was my energy. But turns out I have been always tuning into other people's energies. I
Wow.
felt other people. It wasn't just my own stuff. So I always felt through the body. And within this year, it has gotten even stronger. This gift, so to say, this gift, but it's an innate thing that we all have. Yeah.
And how did you navigate that gift? When did you come to realize, oh, wait, these emotions, these things that I'm feeling, they're actually not mine? And how did you learn to differentiate between your stuff and somebody else's? And then how did you put up like almost a boundary or a guard so that you're not always taking on other people's stuff?
Yeah. Good question. So when it really hit me is this summer, it like really, really hit me. Before that, I was like, okay, I'm somewhat, it comes up as a feeling. I feel it in my gut. Da, da, da. And this summertime, I had a situation where there were like entities involved. And I felt the entity working through me. That was the time
Wow.
I felt so, kind of in that, like the third person you're watching, and I understand what's happening and I feel it and I feel the entity working through me. And I know, like, because of the situation where I was, there was a lot of entities, a lot of negative kind of energy, if you would call it that, dark, dense energy. And at that moment, it was working through me. And after, like, it worked through me, I'm like, oh my God, I just had this entity go through me. Like, it felt like I felt right afterwards. It was like, that wasn't me, that wasn't these people, it was entities working, right? And that's when I truly realized that, you know what, I do have having this feeling of the clear sentience. I feel it through the body physically. And yeah, after that, I mean, before that, I did, a lot of cleansing. And I do protection. That if I feel no, that I'm going to be in a place that's not going to be very good, I do something called 12D shield. So I activate a 12D shield, which pretty much protects you up to the 12th dimension, because we know up to the 12th dimension, there's a lot of distortion that can be brought in. And other than that, yes, I cleanse every day when I feel like something's going on. There's many different things for whatever I am feeling. If I feel I'm being attacked, then I simply return back to sender. I am not dealing with this. You go. If I feel already that I've had energy working through me that doesn't feel good, I will cleanse. I will take a shower. I will, do like a ritual to take it off. Sometimes, yeah, like if you've had even like a conversation or something that wasn't good, and whatever clothing you were wearing, you take off the clothes inside out and like shake it off and put it outside. That energy stays there.
One thing that I love that you said was you were in a negative environment or an environment that didn't really feel in alignment with the energy that you were radiating. And you were able to feel an entity move through you. And something that popped into my mind, I guess, just now while you were talking was how what negative, unquote, energy is can simply be this negative entity moving from one person's soul and mouth to another while we engage in conversation that lowers our vibration. Now, I don't like to really view things as right or wrong or negative and positive. I feel like that's a very 3D way of thinking. In the 5D, we just talk about, what feels, better or what something could possibly be like. I wonder what that is versus that was negative or positive, or I wonder where that came from. So when we talk about entities and when we talk about negative talk and negative energy or things that just don't feel right, I wonder if while we're talking, we're engaging in like gossip or low vibrational conversation, if what's really happening is we're just transferring these negative entities from one being to the next. And kind of like hot potato, see who, like the game that you played as a child, um, who can cleanse themselves, detoxify themselves, release this negative energy quickest. Then the goal, in some sense, would be to live in the the fifth dimension of not even partaking in the game of the hot potato or who can hold the negative energy for the least amount of time. Does that make sense to you?
To some extent, yeah, I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. I like the idea of, the fifth dimension where we kind of move away from the polarity. But not to take away our humanness, right? We're still
For sure.
human and we do have that polarization here still. And I agree that a lot of times that's how entities, and I'm sure you, because of your gift, you've seen entities on people, and people do have. And yes, the entities grow like that energy, that dark, dense energy, for a lack of a better word. It's just low vibrational, dense energy. Yes. In the end, after a certain dimension, after a certain level, it still all goes back to God ultimately, right? Because we're here playing this game of duality. We're here playing these characters that, Source kind of wants to live through and feel. And so, yeah, to an extent, I do agree with you that in the 5D, there's definitely less of that, right? And we should be going towards that, not to deny our humanness.
For
Sometimes,
sure, not to
yeah,
deny our
yeah,
humanness and to feel the feels, right? Because we do feel things that we don't necessarily like. We do have preferences. We are humans, right? We
yeah.
are these, spiritual beings living out a human 3D experience. However, I do see the world in which we live in now moving closer to 5D than 3D. And we are moving away, at least in my perspective, from polarity. What I'm getting at is that I feel it's all about how quickly we could re-enter the state of feeling good. Life's amazing. And sometimes we can visualize, we can feel an entity or the negative energy or the life's thinking as an entity kind of taking possession of our being. And to release that, and the goal is to release that entity as quickly as possible. And to do that, there are different modalities of cleansing and detoxifying. But once we get into a place of shielding ourselves, like the 12D protection or whatever it is, shielding yourself to not even fall for the negative entity. In Judaism, we call it the Yetzer Hara. It's a Hebrew word of like, I don't like the negative energy that's compelling. You can visualize that or sense that as. And as the more we ground ourselves, protect ourselves, and shield ourselves, and some of the ways of doing that is simply by, if the Yetzer Hara, if this like negative energy takes over, we release it by either feeling the feels, being listened, even though I feel this way, I choose to love myself anyway. You are loved, you are nurtured. You can journal, you can sage, you could Palo Santo, you can take a selenite stick and clear your energy. But when you continuously come back to the protection, the acknowledgement of who you truly are, this light being, this soul, energetic, spiritual, loved being, you allow for the negativity to not come into your reality, to not possess you as much
Sure.
until it finally just doesn't even enter your reality. It's not something that you entertain anymore.
And that's kind of the whole point of, what do we call enlightenment, or this ascension, or this self-development, whatever it is, because, we're here to experience it. Like I said, we're not going to have the I mean, we're moving away from the polarity, but we do still have that polarity to
For
experience
sure.
the good and the bad, right? And that's the whole point of this ascension. That's the whole thing of everything that we do, even the manifestations that we do, right? Like the work, all of it is that you have the tools, right? You have the tools now to go. You know how to regulate your nervous system. Now you know what it feels like when an entity attacks, right? Or when someone is trying to siphon your energy, or I don't, whatever other thing that happens, or your life totally falls apart, because things like that happen too. Your life can completely fall apart, right? And you're going to be on the floor and just trying to get yourself back up. But you have that faith, and you have all of these tools and the knowledge that how reality really works, right?
Yes. And when we do have those moments where, life kind of quote unquote falls apart, I really see that. And what I teach my clients is that that's just initiation from the universe to take you from a place that was so out of whack for you and to bring you into a place of purpose and realignment. When your life feels like it's falling apart, what's actually happening is the things that you've outgrown and the things that no longer serve you are being taken away because you're being initiated and welcomed into a new reality where you will be given opportunities to grow closer to your manifestations and the things that you want to call in life, your purpose, your vision, your mission. And so the key is when your life feels like it's falling apart, the first time it can be a long journey through the rabbit hole. The first, maybe even the second time, but the more times your life feels like it's falling apart, you hit a rock bottom, the more you're able to know exactly what's happening before it happens and boomerang into your ascension. Quickly let go, move out of the more your life feels like it's falling apart in your life, the more times that happens throughout the journey of the human experience, the better you get at letting go, removing the fear, and just trusting in your ascension. And the moment you let go of the attachments to the past stories, because that's what usually keeps us stuck, the attachment of the people we want to keep in our lives that just aren't at that vibrational level that we've entered into, being attached to the stories, our past experiences, which we can sometimes use to punish ourselves and keep ourselves small. And once we ascend from that place, we boomerang right into the reality that we love living in. So it's actually this really funny thing that happens where we want this thing for ourselves. We want this manifestation, this new reality. And then for most people, what ends up happening, the fear of having it, the fear of actually having to let go of old habits, cycles, that keep on looping around, that the idea of letting all that go scares us. And we're like, I'm good where I'm at. I actually rather stay small. But what happens is if we stay small for too long, the rug gets pulled under our feet and we're forced to ascend. So it's like at one point, when you get used to this kind of test from the universe, I guess, what you realize is it's so much easier to flow with the current than to resist it, because what resists.
Yes. Yes. And of course, it's easier to go with the current than trying to go uphill. You're pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to do something that's that you have to let go of.
Most people want to resist because the journey of manifesting can seem scary because we do have to shed and purge our old selves, our old skin, and enter into a new one that feels so much better. It's like this illusion. We're like so scared to step into our power. Like, oh my God, I'm going to have all this power. And, but at the same time, you're going to step into all this power. You're going to create a life you love living in. You're going to be in your purpose and your worthiness and your deservingness. And you're going to manifest your visions and your missions and all of your manifestations.
Yeah. Everything that you like, there's a reason what you desire, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody has different desires. Everybody has different dreams. And there's a reason why you have it as your dream is because you're supposed to make it into a reality. That's what you're supposed to live like.
Yeah, your visions choose you. Your dreams and your desires choose you.
Yeah.
You don't we think that we get this idea and we're like, oh my God, I want that, or I'm going to manifest that. But what some people don't realize is actually those dreams, visions, and missions, those purposes, they chose you. They plopped in your head and brought the awareness into your mind for you to fulfill that because there's something so great when you do manifest it in store for you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And moving from these, like you were talking about, moving from this comfort zone and stepping into something new. That is definitely, I feel a lot of people sometimes struggle with to let go of this. Once they're ready, it's right there.
So what are your visions and your missions and your manifestations for how you are serving humanity, right? You're definitely in your purpose, serving as a quantum healer, as a vessel for healing. So how would you like to expand in the upcoming year or years to come? What's your vision?
Oh, wow. My vision for all of this. I want to really more of humanity, right? More of the collective. I want them to start waking up. We do have, enough, I guess, people waking up, but I want more of that, right? Where so many of us collectively start to wake up to this truth, to this dream life and reality that we could have, right? Because for me personally, I see a lot of people that are stuck in living a life that's not fulfilling, that's not what they want to do, right? So much of life has been programmed into us, and the kind of jobs we get and what we do in life and the things we acquire. And I'm not saying it's not a good idea to buy the things or have the things, but we have to start coming back to living with in tune with nature, right? In tune with our body, in tune with this, like you said, that the purpose that we have, right? And guiding them through these processes and showing them this is how you regulate your nervous system. This is how you release all these traumas and wounds out of the body. This is how you have to reprogram these beliefs. This is how you do this. This is how you energetically, what we have to start realizing, right? So many of us live in this idea that we're just this physical body. No, your actual reality is not even seen. This is just physicality, right? So this is on a big, scale like that. That's kind of what I'm passionate about. Yeah, what I want to help humanity, to elevate them, to bring them to that remembrance, right? To their true nature, to the true nature of their being. They have forgotten.
It really sounds like your mission is to be this vessel of liberation for people. Hey, you're just waking up. I want to show you what's actually happening in your reality, or like for the person who hasn't woken up yet, to mirror back to them their potential and what they're actually here for, to help people return back to their true nature and to unveil the unseen. you're only seeing what you're seeing with your 3D eyes, but let me show you what's actually in the room with you. And I think that's so beautiful and so profound, and that the universe right now, especially Earth, needs that.
Thank you.
I really love that. So, how can people book a session with you or learn more about quantum health and your services and your offerings?
So I do have an Instagram page, TikTok, and booking my services. They can absolutely just message me directly, or I have on a website of like holistic practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my services are listed there. I offer like free discovery calls if somebody they saw something, they're like, oh, well, that's interesting. Well, I want to know more. Sure, like come, I'll tell you, ask me all the questions you want, how the process goes.
And what's your Instagram and TikTok name?
Quantum Mastery by Alina. And
Yeah.
Quantum Mastery because I do deal with a lot, not just quantum healing, but there's quantum breath, quantum flow. It's a very big quantum magic, right? So everything related to the quantum field and these really energies that for most people are unseen, and that field of all the possibilities. Support, I guide people to, I guess, pull that into their reality through all of that.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today. It was a pleasure to connect with you on this podcast and show everybody what is possible for them and a new modality in which they can start to unblock what's been holding them back so that they can boomerang forward into the life they love dreaming about and actually live it in their physical 3D reality.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, if you like this podcast episode, please download it, give us a nice review, and follow us on Instagram at Journey with VRD to get all the latest and the greatest updates. Till next week.